Integrity.
Arthur Burnett Jr., a.k.a. Big Papa Cole. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be here.
Come on, man. Glad to have you here, bro. Glad to have you here, man. Let's talk to him, man. You living or you surviving?
I'm living. I
love it. Explain.
I mean, things are going pretty good. I mean, we got podcasts going. We got a couple of things that we're working on right now. Working on a big project. I can't really talk about, but like a big, social platform kind of project we're working on with like a big kind of celebrity type person. And, and doing a lot more speaking engagements and things of that nature. So everything's kind of moving in the direction that I've always wanted things to go.
Real respect, bro. Respect.
Welcome to the Integrity Response with your brother CEO Khacki. Every individual sitting across from me doesn't believe in being typical, ordinary, or familiar. They're elite, meaning society's norms don't sit well with them. They believe in raising the bar for themselves, family, and for those they may never meet. From those in humble beginnings to those in the midst of greatness and legends who've paved the way. With a comedic edge, I will ask the questions that hold value, and I believe we'll gain insight to the real them. It's the Integrity Response.
Talk to him, man. Let's take him back. Before the world of information technology, before entrepreneurship, at the age of 9, what did you want to be?
When I was 9 years old, that's difficult to say what I wanted to be when I was 9. But so that was like 1997. So I just dated myself. I'm born in 88.
Gotcha. All right, for sure.
So, but yeah, like at that time, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I knew I was really good in like mathematical type stuff.
Gotcha.
Like when I was like 6, 7 years old, I taught myself how to do like percents and numbers, and my parents were like surprised. They were like,
"Wow!"
And I did that by accident by like playing, video games.
Right, absolutely.
And I used to play this game called NBA Live 95.
Classic.
Yeah, it's a classic game. And on the game, they had so many numbers on it, and I didn't know what they were.
That's right.
And so I remember looking at Reggie Miller's stats, and I'll never forget the number. He shot 195 out of 473s.
Wow.
And it said that was 41.5%. And I was like, what the heck is a percent? I don't get it. So then I, figured out like how they calculated it.
Absolutely.
And then, by accident, it just made me really good at math.
Real.
And, yeah, it's freaking weird, but that's what happened.
Math is my thing too. That's real. So that was your favorite subject in school too?
Not really. My favorite subject actually. I was good at math. I like it because I'm good at it. But my favorite thing in school was writing.
Gotcha.
I like writing a lot. I liked I won an award at one point for like writing a play and things of nature. So and the thing I like about a play and writing is I like creating like a structure for something.
That ties into who you are now. We're going to get into all that. That makes perfect sense. Wow. Gotcha. So let's take it back, man. Jamaica, Queens, Laurelton. What was it like growing up there?
What was it like growing up in Laurelton? Laurelton was cool. Like it was great growing up there. I grew up on a block. I got there when I was like 8 years old.
Gotcha.
And 223rd. And at the end of the day, like there was a real family-oriented, like village kind of setup.
Absolutely.
We had like this dude. His name's Mr. Jordan, and he used to kind of like be like, I don't know, just not like in everybody's business, but just caring about.
He knows everybody.
He
and
knew
their
everybody.
Kids.
Everybody knew the kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? His kids were always real cool. Like
but he was trusted.
Exactly. He was trusted. And I always trusted his sons, Chris and Eric. Mostly Chris. Not that Eric wasn't trustworthy. I didn't talk to him as much because Eric was a lot older.
Gotcha.
Eric's probably was like my dad's age.
Gotcha.
He had a son my age. Chris was in between that age, so he interacted with us a little bit more.
Right, for sure.
And and he was a cool dude or whatever. And he used to try to make sure we kind of stay out of trouble. And we had this another guy that I really took. He kind of took me under his wing a little bit. His name was Craig, who he had had been to jail or whatever
Gotcha.
the case may be, came out, made something good with himself,
Right,
and
right.
business and all that stuff, and he tried to like make sure that like we
That's good.
were like going along the right,
Right,
on the right
absolutely.
path and not making certain moves, etc. So
Like a wallow back, like a wallow.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
just like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So being around that environment, one thing that really helped me, that I saw that a lot of people that once I like went to, other places or whatever,
Right.
as a black man, there was a lot of black men around me that cared what I was doing.
Gotcha.
So not just my father who was there,
ahead.
but then like, Chris is there, Eric's there, Craig is there, and Craig really would be like in my like face about stuff or whatever.
Gotcha.
I don't even know if it was intentional, but like he would care if I was he would care about me doing something dumb if I was doing
Gotcha.
something dumb.
Right,
So I would like, so I really had nowhere to go where it was just like there was
Absolutely.
where
Someone
there-
always cared.
yeah, somebody was
there.
always there who cares. It was just like black men everywhere.
I love that.
And then next door I had a guy who was same age as my grandfather's name, Mr. Lowe, and he was Mr. Jordan's like best friend.
Gotcha.
And he would be checking in on me. I'd be in his basement all the time,
Gotcha.
hanging out with his grandson. Grandson's one of my best friends, and just hanging out, chilling, all that type of stuff like that. And like I said, every single place I would go, there was a strong black male
Come on, bro.
influence
Come on.
there.
I love it.
Whether I was down the block hanging out, whether I was over here,
That's
whether
right.
I was around there was a black man, black man, black man, black man,
Love
black
that.
man, black man, black man. They all wanted to see me do well. And it's just like, and obviously my parents didn't plan that when they moved there.
Right.
So it just happened that way.
Real.
Where I could have been, in the place that we lived before then, if I would have stayed there, I wouldn't have had that at all.
Gotcha. And where was this?
I was in St. Albans and I was in Baldwin before. We were in Baldwin for a year.
You saying Baltimore?
Baldwin.
Baldwin. Gotcha.
Yeah, so
okay.
that's Long Island. My parents tried to live out there. They didn't like it.
Okay.
And then
Gotcha.
they came back to Queens. So
Which
we were
one was
there.
more diverse?
Baldwin was definitely more diverse. There was
Gotcha.
white people,
Okay.
black people, every single race. That was nice. I mean, that was like third grade.
Gotcha.
And I came right back to Queens when we came to Laurelton. But before that, I was in St. Albans. And where I was there was none of that. There,
Gotcha.
there was a bunch of single mothers and stuff
Gotcha.
like that. So I mean, my energy probably would have been completely different.
Understand.
But when I got
Absolutely.
there to Laurelton, like I said, everywhere there was black male figures.
That's
Whether,
right.
So whether my father was there to tell me don't do this, or whether Craig was there to tell me, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep
Absolutely.
it PG, but he told me even some.
Early on.
He told me some stuff that got me right. So I'll
For sure.
at the end of the day.
Real. And what about siblings? Do you have any older brothers, sisters, younger?
No, I have a younger sister.
Gotcha.
I have an older cousin that was kind of raised with us.
Race. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, both women, and then and then in my family, I have a lot of uncles and
Gotcha.
aunts and stuff like that. And one particular uncle that I saw like every single week.
Gotcha.
That was a big influence in my life too.
He was the younger uncle.
No.
Okay.
He's my father's uncle actually.
Gotcha. So this guy's wise. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So incredibly wise. Like
That's dope.
he was he did stuff in the civil rights movement.
Come on.
He started a center in Southeast Queens that I used to go to every single week, and I worked there. It was like my first job and stuff like that. And he was very intentional about making sure that he was setting stuff up for the next generation.
Right.
Even though he never had any of his own children, it was like all the kids that came through there were
Gotcha.
like his children. And like I said, I spent like the entire Saturday with him every single week because I guess
dope.
that's something that was worked out with him and my parents. They're like,
That's
hey,
dope.
like we got to work on Saturday. Can
Right.
you hold him?
That's dope.
And so I was with him.
And he put you to work.
And he put me
That's
to work,
good.
of course.
That's good. For sure.
Yeah. Even before I could legally work, I was technically working.
Right. For sure. So what did that do, man? Strong sense of community early on, black men thriving, showing discipline, showing, integrity, showing what you had to do on the weekends, family structure, trust. How did that, shape you as a man even in today?
It shaped me very strongly because, like I said, when I started to talk to other people as I got older, I got to high school, whatever, I realized how different that situation was.
Absolutely.
That like I had that around me all the time. that, if I couldn't talk to my dad, I'll talk to Craig. If I couldn't talk to Craig, I'm going to talk to Chris. I'll talk to Brian, or I'm going to talk to all these different people. I had no shortage of black men to ask stuff to.
Real.
And they all came from a different perspective, but all of them were luckily for me, because they could have any of them could have been had bad intentions for me.
Absolutely.
But all of them had good intentions.
Absolutely.
So it just worked out for me.
That's right.
Because I was too young to know the difference.
Right.
But as an adult, I can look back and say, like, this is when Chris was looking out for me. This is when Brian was looking out for me. This is when Craig was looking out for me. This is when, whatever, and I could see that. And like I said, that camaraderie really, I could say, like, Mr. Jordan kind of like set the stage for that a little bit. You know what I mean? I wasn't old enough to know why everybody listened to him or talked to him, like why that was the case. And I still don't know to this day. But I came in there and it was already like that.
Gotcha.
So I just
followed suit.
I just came in.
Absolutely, that's real.
So it's what it is.
That's dope. What about sports? Did you play any sports growing up?
I had a basketball hoop in my backyard, and I played basketball. I played basketball in the park and did all that. I played on a team for a little bit of time.
Gotcha.
But nothing like really crazy. I didn't have in my head I was going to go to the NBA or something like that.
Absolutely.
You know what
We
I mean?
all did. Hoop dreams.
But
absolutely.
But the thing is, though, I joke about me being, when I was younger, being very prone to get hurt.
Gotcha.
So, like, I never even made it old enough to even, like, I didn't even make it long enough to get to the pros and then get hurt.
Right.
Like, I was just hurt. I was just,
Gotcha.
messing up stuff. I wouldn't break anything, but I always would have like an issue. So like I mess up my knee,
Know what you're saying.
mess up my ankle, mess up my elbow, mess up this, mess up that. And then, went to the military, messed this up, messed that up.
That's right. So from high, we're gonna get straight into that too. So high school, early on, you was making money on your own. In high school. Explain that type of, not even a job, but that passion you had, that hustle, that mentality you had in high school, making your own money.
Yeah, one of the things I figured out how to do is I figured out how to like make websites and stuff like that.
Wow.
And because of my age, like that was like a not a weird thing, but just it was like a time when like that was becoming a thing.
Absolutely.
So I would make, MySpace pages and little websites and stuff like that for people.
Gotcha.
Like I made a couple, like people like were making like these Dragon Ball Z kind of like spoiler sites and putting like their art up. I made some of those, made a bunch of people's Zanga pages and MySpace pages, and made the words fly across the screen, spin around 5 times, and and expand it so they could have more than 8 people on their top 8 and all type of stuff like that. And I, just got good at doing that. And
what prompted that? Who led you to that?
It's a dumb story, but I'll tell you.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So when I was in high school, right? Really started from 8th grade. So in 8th grade, there was this girl that I had a crush on, right?
Gotcha.
And she didn't even know I existed, or she did know I existed. I found out later she didn't know who I was.
I heard this story. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please tell the viewers. Yes.
I'm telling it in more detail than I told it last time.
Please tell the story.
But because I didn't go into super details, it can make me sound a little more like a stalker. But at the end of the day, 8th grade,
right?
I'm 8th grade, and I skipped a grade, so I was 12 in 8th grade. So I'm a little bit younger than everybody else. Right. So 12 years old in 8th grade. And there was this girl that I liked. She was in like this dance program at school.
Gotcha.
And she just was really attractive to me at the end of the day. And what ended up happening is me and her both got into this specialized high school called Brooklyn Tech.
Okay.
For being good at math and science or whatever. We take a test, we pass it, we go into the program. Right? So we go into the program. And then for some reason we both do this special program called Pulse, which is like preparation for undergraduate learning through science enrichment. That's what the letters stand for. And so we go into that program, and and because we both are from Queens, we got to take the train back together or whatever. So that we end up, seeing each other more, all that good stuff. So the main idea though is we end up in a class together.
Gotcha.
Right? And the class that we're in together is like this class where you learn C++, so you learn computer programming.
Gotcha.
Right? And I, at first, didn't really care about it right? But I noticed like maybe like 2-3 weeks in that she really cared about the class, right? So that made me care about the class more, trying to impress her or whatever the case may be. And the funny thing is, then I started going really, really hard. My teacher didn't know why I was going so hard, or maybe he did. He's probably smarter than whatever. His name was Mr. Turner. You know, and he saw I was doing good. So when my parents came for parent-teacher conference, he literally said to them, he said, if you would have came a week ago, I might not have had good things to say about your son. But I don't know. Like, he's been really killing it lately. And so if he keeps it up, like, he's going to excel in this program, and he should really consider this for a career. That's what he says. And I am the type of person, I probably shouldn't super analyze myself for the world to hear, but
no, go ahead.
But I don't respond well. Like, some people respond well to like negative reinforcement. I don't respond good to negative reinforcement.
The positive part is
exactly.
Absolutely.
Like, you tell me something negative, I don't care. Like, it's gonna be more like either I don't care or I'm gonna do more of what's pissing you off because like, you know, now I'm an adult, so I won't automatically do that. But as just by nature, I don't like when people say negative things about me. If you say negative, I'm gonna give you more negative by default. So a teacher tells bad stuff to my parents, I'm gonna do more bad stuff. Right? That's just me. But him saying something good about me, whenever somebody says something good about me, I wanna prove them right.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he said that, he's killing it, blah, 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 blah. And I heard that and I was like, oh, you really think I'm nice at this? I appreciate you noticing that about me.
Right.
So I'm gonna go hard.
That's dope.
Like, you thought I was going hard before.
Now
I'm about to
play.
Like
I was playing.
Exactly. I was just playing around before. Just because I was trying to impress her. I wasn't really serious, but now I'm about to be really serious. And I mean, not everybody does by nature good with negative reinforcement like me, positive reinforcement. You tell me something good,
that's real.
I want to prove you right.
That's right. That's dope. That's dope, bro.
So I got good at it, whatever. And fast forward, because a bunch of stories I could tell along that way. But we had a final project that we had to do. And the final project, was we had to like make like a little, like just do some type of like something artistic or whatever. Gotcha. So I decided to make a game where it was called Mac-Man, and the object of the game was when you win the game, you save the princess. And the princess at the end was this girl.
Absolutely.
And like you had to like get past like all these stages, and all the stages I made it that it was her friends were the enemies.
That's classic.
So it was dumb at the end of the day. And I didn't really draw them. So it was just like it was like little pictures on the screen.
Right.
But I made sure like I had like something about them on there so they knew it was them. And it was always a letter on them to say like the first letter of their name. Right. And so everybody picked up on it pretty quick on like what it was supposed to be. And like the last one was like you had to get through the evil cheerleaders or whatever. And then you get through the evil cheerleaders and then at the end she says, "Oh my gosh, Mac-Man, you saved me."
That's dope.
And she says, "Of course, I'm Mac-Man." And then that's the end of it.
Dope, bro.
And she definitely picked up because she turned around, looked at me, and was smiling and blushing at the same time or whatever. And she's black, so it's hard to blush.
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day,
that's real. That's dope.
What was what it was, and nothing really changed except for then it was like a real big thing. Like, okay, Arthur, like, are you gonna just ask this girl out at this point because you keep making it seem like you
a year and a half younger than her? But
I'm a year younger than her, but same grade.
So that took a lot of balls, bro.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, in retrospect, as an adult, I'm positive that if I would have played my cards differently, she could have been my girlfriend.
Pursued it. Right.
But I was always looking for her to like outwardly say, yes, you could do it, but I hadn't figured out how women work yet, so I didn't know that's never going to happen. You have to like just go.
Right.
I didn't figure that out till I was like 17.
Real, bro, real.
16 maybe.
That's real.
16, yes, it was 16.
Well, let me ask you this, man, for your fans, for your supporters, fill in the blank. In high school, I was known as a kid that...
I was fresh all the time. So I always had Coogee sweaters and...
Come on.
And, and fresh white sneakers and Pradas before they was like a thing like that. or whatever. And
that's that New York, bro. That's that Queens for you, bro.
That's that Queens.
Absolutely, bro.
And then me and my boy Jonathan, sometimes we would like trade stuff. So I'd be like, yo, let me get that throwback, and you get this.
That's right.
I give you this Coogee for that throwback or whatever, and stuff like that. Because I always had a job, so it's not like I always get stuff. And then my father wasn't like I got bigger than him, at a certain point, so I couldn't like wear his stuff regularly anymore. But like 10th, 11th grade, I could just wear his clothes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 12th grade, I'm taller than my dad.
Gotcha.
So I couldn't like wear his stuff the same way anymore. But I tried it a couple times, but then it was like, okay, this stuff don't fit.
Fashion, was that, Queens, coming from where you're from, like even, down to the Patrick Ewings you wear, the Queens, the New York, the Knickerbockers, the Knicks, bro. Like the Queens, you guys are notorious for dressing well. Was that like a part of,
that's part of it.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
real.
You not like.
Was your dad fresh, Mr. Jordan? Everybody fresh? Like,
was Mr. Jordan fresh? No, I never seen him fresh. I see pictures when he used to be fresh.
Gotcha, for sure.
He wore a white T-shirt and pants every single day.
Just like that.
I seen him
it was something off of Bronxdale, right?
Yeah, that's all I ever seen him wear.
Gotcha.
And the same thing for Mr. Lowe. My father was always fresh. Chris is always fresh. I never seen Eric in anything but slippers.
Gotcha.
I've never seen him anywhere. But also at the same time, I wouldn't see him anywhere because why would I see him?
Right. He was chilling.
Like he'd go somewhere else.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So that definitely was always a thing. That's just a Queens thing in general.
Right, absolutely. So from high school, I'm thinking just with your credentials, skipping a grade, college band was the first thing I'm thinking after high school. With the military.
Yeah, so I went to college for a little bit.
Okay, you did. Okay.
And then I went to the military, right?
What was your major?
My major in college?
Yes.
So my first major was theater.
Okay.
And then I changed it to math.
Okay.
And then like I said, didn't finish, then went to the military. And then finished my bachelor's in management while I was in the military.
Come on, for sure.
And then did my master's in software development when I got out.
Come on, that's what's up.
And the whole time I was in the military, I was freelancing as a web developer the whole time.
The whole time?
Yeah, the whole time freelancing.
So you was roughly 7 years in the Army, in Navy.
Navy, yep.
So before we get into that, the web development, what's something you learned about yourself, serving this country, being out there on the water? If you were on the water, were you on the water as well?
Not long. Not long.
Okay, but you just one tour probably.
Yeah.
Something, just in and out, 3 months, 6 months, something like that. How was that, man? What's some things you learned about yourself, in the military?
The things I learned the most when I was in the military was a couple of things. The first thing, and I'll tell you when I first got in, right? And I'm in boot camp, right? And I didn't know how to swim. And you have to know how to swim to pass Navy boot camp, right?
Absolutely.
And I had a baby at the time. So that's the reason why I'm in the military, right?
Absolutely.
So I was having a lot of trouble being able to swim. And I was like scared of like the water. I remember like the first time like we go in, what they do is they make you jump off this like big thing and jump down the water.
That's right.
And the thing about it though is they tricked me into going up there and told me they would just want me to see how high up it was. And they Spartan kicked me into the water. Stop playing. And then jumped in after me. But I always learned a principle after that, because the thing they were showing me is that, one, I'm not going to die if I do it, which I needed to see. Absolutely. So I wouldn't be scared, because they realized I was scared of the water, right, real fast. Absolutely. Right? Even though I wouldn't admit that, because I'm, and I was a little, a little bit of attitude or whatever.
Of course, right.
Yeah, that's and then a little bit of the New York.
Absolutely.
So I wasn't really like saying that, but like, so I was acting like I was too cool for water, but I was really scared of the water. And so they kicked me in to, one, show you're not gonna die, and then two, to show that that they kicked me in, but then jumped in after me. Absolutely. Right, to show that like, hey, we're gonna make you be uncomfortable. That is, but we're gonna do it with you. We're gonna be here while you do it.
Boot camp is exactly. It's like, we're gonna kick your butt and show you we're right here with you.
Yeah, but I'm right here. I kicked you in this water, but don't worry, I won't let you drown.
That's right.
I'm right here.
That's right.
Like, sort of situation. So it was like, hey, I'm right here, but you want to learn this, right? You got to do this. So push yourself up to the top. Go ahead. Get myself up to the top. Try to float. I couldn't get to the float. It's like, all right, you try. Let's get out. Let's go. Let me teach you how to do it. Yeah. And then I was there, and it was like yelling at us, like, "Why are you here? I know you're here for a reason.
Bro. Come on,
you don't
man.
want this to happen, that happen." They was talking a lot about your parents or whatever,
right, that's
and that
right.
wasn't motivating me because at that stage I didn't really care. Not that I didn't care what my parents thought.
You was with your child was.
I was worried about
Absolutely, bro.
my kids. So
Absolutely.
it's like, yo, what's the reason why you're here? Well, I'm here because of this, because of my daughter, right? I'm like, okay, well, I want you to go in here. I want you to imagine what you would do if it was like when you go and have to grab this thing from the bottom of the floor, which was like a bunch of feet down, maybe 8 or 9 feet down or whatever, right? So you need to be able to swim to be okay here.
Right.
Yeah, I want you to imagine that down there is like it is the most important thing to you, which is my daughter. And go ahead, and I want you to go ahead and save your daughter from down there and get her to the top. And I want you to really visualize that.
Wow.
And so I really visualized that. And when I did that, I was able to do it. And I was like, I was like, yo, I'm doing this right now. Right? And I was like, all right, you got it. So, and I was like, all right, so tomorrow you're going to do the test. It's like, but I still know how to swim. I just did it one time. It's like, if you do it once,
come on,
you could do it 50 times.
Absolutely.
You could do it 100 times.
Absolutely.
So just do what you just did. And the next day, then I went past that. And I passed it in time to not get held back in boot camp.
The 1 week.
Because if you don't do it in that time, then now you got to call your family and be like, remember I was going to graduate here?
Yep.
It's next week.
Next Friday.
The next week
That's
now.
Right. Absolutely. That's right. That's good though, bro. That's good. So
yeah, so I barely made. Actually, I had 2 days left. I had 2 days.
But you was doing the remedial swim almost every morning.
Yeah, like, you had to leave and go do it every day.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow. Bro.
So I had 2 more days that, like, if I didn't make it that time, I still had 2 days I still had. But I was like, yo, they're right. If I could do it once, I could do it. I could do it. If I did it once, I could do it 50 times. I can do it now.
Absolutely. How was that? Because you from the South, I told you Coast Guard. You talking about the Navy, the Coast Guard. You have to be a damn near excellent swimmer. So I know, but in the South, I grew up swimming. Pool, but being in Queens,
there was no pool.
There was no pool. The people in the backyard didn't have pools. So did you know how to swim prior to at all?
No, I didn't know how to do anything.
You really.
I had no idea how to swim even remotely. I never tried to swim.
Wow.
Never swam at all.
Did you go in with a buddy?
That going with a buddy?
Like we have like the buddy system, you was like, child, I'm gone. Real. So
I mean, at the end of the day, at that point I knew like if I started like I was about to die, someone was gonna come get me anyway. So it was like whatever.
Gonna do it.
Yeah. So that fear was not there.
Real. What about 7 years? Like, when you first went in, were you like, I have a plan, I'm not staying 20?
No.
Did you have a goal, or what was your initial goal going in? And also with that question, did anybody in your family, was there any prior Navy?
No prior Navy, but I had, some Army, people in my family.
Gotcha.
But my goal initially going in was, hey, let me just go finish school, get, some stability.
That's right.
And, get my, entrepreneurial stuff, back in motion. Because, even before I went to the military, I had made like 6 figures when I was like 18, 19 years old and stuff like that. But things had like dried up and I didn't. And, when I was single, I was making a bunch of money. I didn't know how to balance having my girl and then still getting stuff done.
Absolutely. Understand.
So I didn't like set up things right. I got a house before I should have got a house. So, so I had like a foreclosure at like 21 years old.
Oh, you got a house while you were in the military?
No, before I was in the military.
Okay, gotcha.
But I had already lost it by then. So there's a bunch of bad decisions I had made that, doing stuff too quickly.
Gotcha, understand.
And Rick Ross interview he did one time. He's like, I don't want to move quickly. I want to move correctly.
I love that.
I understood that, I need to slow down a little bit, but I need to have some urgency. I need to have like a balance between that.
Absolutely.
So I was like, let me go here. I'll do X, Y, and Z. And it wasn't like anybody else was just going to do everything for me. So I was like, all right, let me just do this. And then once I, got to, 3 years in, I was like, I kind of got the hang of this and I'm doing well here. Maybe I'll stay.
Gotcha.
And, somewhere along the lines, I realized like, if I really want to make the next moves I need to step out on faith and leave. And, move on to what I really want to do. And my pastor at the time kind of gave me like a nudge in that direction. And then so did like, one of my good friends, Daniel Girdle at that time too. Was like, hey, like this is really what you want to do. I know, like he like at that point he had known me for like about a year and a half.
Gotcha.
But he was somebody I saw like that. Like even though sometimes you don't know somebody for that long,
Right.
but like
It's
you
impact.
like there's
Absolutely.
impact
Absolutely.
like during that time. So like at this point, like I now known him like 10 years.
Gotcha.
I mean at that time, it's just that I had been with him. Literally, it was days I spent 3-4 hours with him.
Gotcha.
On a like basically he was the other person I saw the most in my life that
Real.
wasn't like my wife
Real.
at the time. So like,
And this is where you were stationed.
and
And where were you stationed?
So I was in Maryland first, and
Okay.
then I was in Suda Bay, Greece, and then I was
Gotcha.
on the Enterprise that was in Virginia,
Gotcha.
and then I went to Fleet Forces Command, and then I got out.
Gotcha. For sure.
So I was in Virginia for 4.5 years, and then I was in Maryland for 2 years.
Gotcha.
And I was in Greece for a year and like 14 months, like a year and 2 months.
Gotcha.
About 30 seconds of your time. I really appreciate your support. With every interview, my aim is to bring integrity and fun back to the culture, and I can't do it without you. If you're enjoying this episode, please hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, and hit the like button. It helps the algorithm. I appreciate you. Back to the interview.
What did you call home after the military?
And I came to Atlanta.
You went straight from your last. You didn't go back home.
Nope. We went straight to Atlanta
Explain that. Explain.
because it's Wakanda, and I
Come
knew
on.
like if I wanted to, do what I wanted to do, this is where I wanted. This is where I
Come
wanted
on,
to
bro.
be.
Absolutely.
I knew that that this is where I could build the future I want to build.
Come on.
So I came down here, and I was in my late 20s, and now I'm like 37. So it's been here for a minute
Gotcha.
now.
For sure. For sure. So you actually. So from here now we're getting into the IT world. When did this take form? You were already making money while in the military. You stepped out on faith. You knew. So now, are you just where the entrepreneurship comes? Or are you looking for firms, or what is that next step? How do you get into this field?
Yeah, so when I got out of the military, I got out. I came down here, and like I said, had already been freelancing as a web developer,
Gotcha.
and I knew that I wanted to keep doing that, so I wanted to just get better at that. So I started, I got a hookup on a place to stay, so I really just had to pay utilities.
Gotcha.
So I had that for a little bit of time. So I just had to pay for utilities and stuff like that. And I just kept grinding on, the web development, trying to bring the numbers up. And then also I, was doing Uber
Okay.
and DoorDash
You were
and
really
all
grinding.
that, all
Right,
that
absolutely.
stuff. So basically, it was like, okay, if I'm not working on a website, I'm gonna be in my
still going
car.
to be.
I'm gonna be in my
Absolutely.
car.
I love that, bro. I love
I'm
that.
gonna go make money in my
I
car.
love that. You didn't subject yourself to one thing. You
Yeah, no,
took
I was.
entrepreneurship to the.
Here's one thing that when people know me, they start to figure this out because they think that like, oh man, you start to have success stuff like that, you get like an ego. But my ego had already been torn down when I was already making six figures and then had to go to the military.
That's what I was.
So my ego had already been gone. So I don't have an ego about like if I'm broke tomorrow, I'll get in my car and do courier stuff tomorrow.
Respect.
If I need I never have the mindset where I'm too good to go do something that can pay
Go
me.
ahead, bro.
Like,
Go ahead.
like
I
I'm
love
gonna
that.
do whatever is the best thing for me to do at that time.
I love that.
Right? I'm not gonna do something that's like outside of like what I want to do when I
Moral.
don't need to.
Right, integrity.
But if I, integrity too. That's not what I meant. What I meant was like, if I'm like, let's say software engineering code is what I want to be doing, right? If I can be doing that, I'm going to be doing that. I'm not going to do other stuff just because.
Right, absolutely.
But of course, I'm not going to do anything that's going to compromise my integrity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, we're not going to move no packs.
Come on, that's right.
We're not gonna-
The big Poppa packs.
Yeah, we're not going to move no big Poppa packs. But,
No, that's real. That's real, bro.
But I will always do something that's morally okay that can make me $1 if it's not going to get in the way of what I want to do. If I need to pay a bill. So like I said, I had no issue driving people around for Uber.
Absolutely.
Had no ego about picking up orders for DoorDash.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I got no issue mowing grass or or picking this up or whatever. And any of those things, I'm if I got to do it, I'm gonna do it. And you know, and I have no issue, like, you know, if I'm in my office or whatever. I don't have an office now, but when I did have an office, I'll sweep the floor myself.
Real, bro.
I'll take out the trash myself. I'll clean the stuff up myself. I'm not, like, I don't have no ego about that.
Respect.
Especially somebody's gonna give me money for it.
Come on, absolutely,
like, you know,
absolutely,
whatever. So I did that at the same time. So I was doing Uber. And the thing I ended up liking more, I actually ended up liking Uber Eats as like the best gig.
Gotcha.
It's like, I was doing Uber, and Uber was fine, and you know, it is what it is. And I didn't always like the fact that I had to talk to people when they came in my car.
Gotcha.
Because I used to like to use the time to be listening to like an audio book or something like that.
Right.
Podcast,
right,
like
learning.
You know, learning.
I was learning on absolutely.
And if I was doing Uber Eats, I could do that. And DoorDash, I couldn't even do it the same way, because DoorDash, there was like, at least at the time, DoorDash and not Grubhub really, but DoorDash. I didn't do much Grubhub. I did a lot of DoorDash though, because DoorDash came down here, you know, at a good time or whatever.
Right.
So I'm doing DoorDash, and I could have my headphones in, and I would have my headphones in, but like they have like an expectation in DoorDash that you give them like an extra level like customer service.
Gotcha.
So like I have to like stop and talk and do whatever. Uber Eats is like, do whatever the heck you want. Just drop the food, dip. Like, I don't have to, and they still gonna give you a thumbs up. It's all good.
Drive by, right?
Yeah, drive by, drop off. It's like, I like this one, and nobody expects nothing of me. I just go and get my little money.
That's real.
And call it a day. But DoorDash are like, they want you to say something. They want you to say, you know, here's your food. You want to check your bag first? Like, even if you check the bag and your stuff not in there, I'm not going back.
I'm not going back.
I'm not going back.
I'm just not getting a tip today. That's real.
So,
that's real, bro.
So I mean, like, it is what it was. So, and Uber, like, yeah, they got to put on whatever the person want to hear and all. Like,
absolutely.
Like, and the only ones that made sense was like the airport runs, really.
Gotcha.
Like, if you go back forth to the airport, and you know, I did, so there was like a few weeks where I did that straight, like nothing but airport runs.
Right.
And sure. I made like stupid money that time.
Right, absolutely.
I was
real.
Like, I don't like doing it though.
Gotcha. But you know, you was picking up somebody that half of the time weren't even from here, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
so do you think that level of humility has helped you, you know, in your career?
100%.
As far as how God has blessed you, just and as far as how you've been able to win, just because of that humility, like you don't see the dollar, you see the dollar. I have a family, I'm a family man. You know, I go to the lows and the highs. I learned how to swim to get my family to where we need to be. Like, do you think that's helped you in your career?
I think it's you know, helped me a good amount. You know, get to, you know, be, you know, again, have some success. And I think you know, I see a lot of people. One person in particular, I won't say who this person is, but they know I'm talking about them when they hear what I'm saying, but nobody else knows, just between us.
Right.
Between us.
You know who you are.
You know who you are.
Right.
But at the end of the day, one thing that was a thing for this person is they felt too good all the time to be able to do something that was beneath them.
Understand.
And that held them back. They couldn't get a job with their particular, you know, with their particular degree. So it's like they just didn't work.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Rather than like saying like, yo, you could just go be a bartender real quick, or you could go do,
absolutely,
you know, go be a freaking, you know, work in a restaurant real quick, or you could do this, do that. And the answer is always, nah, that's not what I want to do. It's not what I see. And I'm like, all right, you could do whatever you want. I'm gonna go ahead. I don't want to DoorDash and Uber Eats for a living, but bro, I'm gonna go ahead and do that so I can pay these bills. And then, you know, like I said, anytime I'm not working on a project for a client, I'm doing that.
Real.
Right? And if I'm working on a project, and eventually what started happening, I started to have more and more projects from clients, and then like I didn't even like ever quit Uber Eats or whatever. I just started getting busy.
Absolutely.
I was too busy, so it didn't make sense. I was like, okay, I got it. And I don't have to do it. And you know, and then also when I'm freelancing doing this stuff for clients or whatever, I'm always going above and beyond, doing like the most I possibly can do. The thing that I will say, there is a negative side to that, where you're used to like going above and beyond and doing stuff for people. when you start to get too busy, you start to realize you don't even have the time to give that same level of stuff. So that's when you have to start to expand
scale
and
back. Or
not to scale back, because you still need to make money. And that's time to expand. And you gotta give some of these opportunities to other people.
Gotcha.
And then bring other people in, and and share it out. And I never try to be a type person where I'm like hoarding opportunities.
Absolutely.
So, try to find ways that like people around you can make money with you as well.
How did that go? Did you start with people you knew in the field, or it was almost like freelancing?
Always people I knew. I mean,
gotcha.
Actually, let me say, there's a couple people I didn't know, but I know them now, I guess. So, yeah, and I would get them through like Upwork or something like that, or Fiverr.
For sure.
And end up like making like a relationship with them.
Shout out to Fiverr, man. Folks be sleeping on Fiverr.
Yeah, Fiverr's a good spot. You get a lot of business. Like,
absolutely.
Craigslist was my thing though, because just the time frame it was.
Oh wow.
This is 2018, yes. 2000 like so like
before Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, yeah. So, I don't even. Facebook Marketplace might have been there, but
it wasn't Craigslist.
Yeah, but 2015, 16, 17, 18, like Craigslist, you get business off of there. And now it's not like from what I hear, it's like not a thing really that. But so
it started charging.
Is that what happened?
It started charging. Folks ran away from it. Yeah, bro.
Yes,
that's
real. I don't know, but that was a thing.
How do you view tech now in the world we are in, ever changing? How do you view it, and how are you staying sharp and on top of everything?
Yeah, I just really, I surround myself with people that I've met along the years that like care about this stuff as much as I do, even more so. Like my friend Brylan, he's always on top of like what the next thing is.
Gotcha.
And he's like, never, I'm saying like behind on things, if you want to say it that way. So you have, you have that,
right?
Of course, and a couple of my other friends like Jamie and Deandra, they're on top of things, working on stuff and asking questions, and one of my friends, Dominic, Corey, like they're all like involved,
right.
At all times. So like just being around them just makes me know about stuff. This young dude that I met in his 20s, his name is Lance, and he's always like crazy on the cutting edge of stuff. So he's always like being like, "Hey, did you see this?" So I didn't have to look myself. I'm looking myself anyway,
right?
But it always. There's always like in my text messages, there's $1 million opportunities in my text messages all the time, because just the people around that you vibe with, and really I got those relationships by like being that type of person that's like gonna work hard.
Real.
And I'm a pretty smart guy too, so hard work and mixed with like being a little bit sharp, that kind of makes you a good asset to people.
Absolutely.
So. But the things that I see coming forward, like I'm very, very, very passionate about this crossroads that we're at, as a world, where you have what's called like the rising billion all around the world. And what that is, those are people that previously never, like in these countries that never had access to like high-speed internet technology, et cetera, that are coming online in big droves every single day, and getting access to cellular technology and all this type of stuff. There's some of these countries that never even had dial-up phones and stuff like that, and jump right to cell phones and wireless technology immediately or whatever.
So true.
And are coming online, and like there's like Maasai warriors and that never had embraced technology previously, that now have a cell phone and have access to more information than like Bill Clinton or Richard Nixon had at the height of their presidencies. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy, like with that information, and you have that. Then you have all these emerging technologies that were seemed like science fiction before, that are real now. You have genetic engineering is real. We got to really know what morally, what we think about what the moral morally what is okay to genetically engineer or not, and like what the benefits of it are, what they're not, like all those things need to be discovered. You have space travel. I worked as a tech lead at a space company, previously. We launched a satellite into space and all type of stuff like that. So I'm definitely not a flat earther.
Gotcha.
I've literally seen it, but
Absolutely.
people believe what they want. But
Absolutely.
I mean, I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
Wow.
Like, nah, it's round.
Right. How was that? How was that working for that space company? How was that
That was
experience?
super dope.
And was that
super
remote,
dope.
or you actually was this?
No, you had to be there because
Wow.
there's a mission control center and all that stuff like that.
What state was this in?
This is in California.
Wow.
So,
Southern Cal, or
This was in San Francisco. So
Gotcha.
I was,
Yeah, that's right.
So I
Right
was
there.
in San Francisco and then came back to
the Bay
Atlanta.
Area? Dope.
Yeah.
Wow. And how long were you there in the Bay?
I was there like 7-8 months.
Gotcha. I was there a year and a half.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Alameda. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was straight up in San Francisco
Gotcha.
in the mission. And I would have stayed there. Like it was my intention to move out there and to get a house in Oakland and stuff like that. But I had some family challenges that
Gotcha.
led to me needing to come back and it just wasn't the right time for a move.
Understand.
So that's the only reason why I didn't stay there, because it was like probably the it was the most challenging, rewarding job I had.
Gotcha.
And then once I kind of left there, I kind of been like entrepreneurial 100% basically since then. Like I still been doing, working a couple places and doing stuff, but I've been like, my entrepreneurial stuff's been like my focus.
Real.
Because then I can, set my own stage and I have some plans and stuff I want to do. And being there just during that time, that even like more so pointed me in the direction, like I said, all these emerging technologies, like, space travel, genetic engineering, AI, blockchain technology, among other things that like are more niche that people may not have heard of before. But you have like CRISPR technology, all the stuff like that. But like I said, like I see like the horizon of all of these technologies, like I said, taking off, and new industries being built as a result.
That's right.
And this is like one of the first times that as a people, the people throughout the African diaspora, normally when we come to something, and when I was talking to Dr. Umar, he was saying the same thing, but normally when we come into something, it's already established and then we have to come in and
try to make things our own.
Yeah, make it our own way. But this is one of those few times where like we're at the cusp of it, where right now, if we make the right moves, we can have a real foot in here and establish ourselves on the same level as these other groups.
Go ahead.
Especially Black people within America or whatever the case may be. So I really feel passionate about I don't feel I want to hoard information in general.
Right.
So anybody that wants information from me, they can get it. But I feel a obligation to make sure that the information that I have and the outlook that I have, that I am infusing that in other people.
That's right.
And I could spend more time building more stuff myself, even though I am building stuff now. But of course, it takes time to go out and do the podcast and do stuff to try to get the information out, try to put it in such a way where people will actually watch it and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
Like, it does take a lot, but I feel that I'll make a bigger impact if like I help 500 people do it.
Absolutely.
And then they go and do the same thing. Rather, if I just do it and do it the best of my abilities, just me and the people around me. But if I can infect a bunch of people in these different, you know what I'm saying? Different, somebody in Detroit, somebody in Chicago, somebody in St. Louis, somebody in the Mississippi Delta, somebody over here, all these different people there, and they get the spark and they get it. That's the point.
Go ahead.
Because they can go out and then go do it the same way. And then, I always pace things forward. So I believe that those people that, even though I don't know them, they'll pay it back to me. They'll say,
it
like,
always does.
Like,
that's
hey,
right.
like,
that's right. That's
like he's the one who told me about this. So blah, blah, blah. And I will, anything I lose in the short run, I gain in the long term, even in just goodwill.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Is that, just speaking on that, the boot camp, that you actually run, successfully helped over thousands of students. What sparked that? What actually sparked your ability or want to give back? You kind of touched on it, but where do you get that from? Like, as far as because in the tech field, you're considered an OG, like really an OG in the tech field. How does that, when did you know when it was time to, release the hounds, to give back in that capacity, helping thousands of students in this boot camp?
Yeah, well, let me clarify that. I don't want to say I did something I didn't do. And I have helped thousands of students, but I did that mostly as a instructor at other places, right?
Okay, gotcha.
So I taught that. Okay. So I taught those people in that way at different schools, like for Scholars, General Assembly. Maybe I shouldn't say their name. Maybe we should cut that out.
Okay.
But different, but different schools that I've taught at, and so I did that. So I did that there, and then I started to see a small gap where people didn't get individualized help.
Okay.
Right. And then that's when what I'm doing, which I started recently, only about at this point, it's about to be a year, where I'm helping individual people on a one-on-one basis tailor make curriculums that are strictly for them.
Gotcha.
So I can see like how it is they learn, how they work, etc. And I can build something that helps them get from point A to point B. And everything is tailored to that person.
Gotcha.
Right? So eventually we will get to those thousands numbers or whatever in like 4 or 5 years or something like that. But we're not there yet. We're just moving along, getting more people to, and also improving our processes. Because there's a lot that goes into making sure that we can do that. We're doing another thing with a friend of mine that's actually for podcasters. Where we do this thing where we train in podcasters how to actually be, learn media training.
Gotcha.
All these different things, with Liberty Madison. And so we're doing that as well. It's another arm of like the education.
Absolutely.
So that is what we've done there. And I still am involved in, other schools and things like that.
Gotcha.
But that's like to teach like the big classes of 50 people at a time, 40 people at a time, and that sort of thing. My thing is how is that this one person wants to go from point A to point B, but they can't even get into that program because they don't have this yet.
Yes.
Or even if they were to get in there, maybe they're a little bit ahead, so they would be wasting some time.
Absolutely.
Let me bring you further along.
Absolutely.
Like it's just like wherever that person is, let me meet them where they're at, and then pull them to where they want to be.
That's dope.
So that's what's there. So I want to make sure I clarify that.
Okay, gotcha. And that spark, let's speak on your podcast, Deeper Than Code. Mm-hmm. Did that kind of, you spoke on this being about a year. When did you start this podcast, and why did you start it, and when did you know it was time to?
So I started the podcast Deeper Than Code because I wanted something where I could mass get out those ideas.
Gotcha.
And I thought that a podcast was the best way to do so. Right. And so the idea was, let me go ahead and create a platform where, people that understand these emerging technologies and stuff like that can have somewhere where they can get it out to the masses. And let's also do it in such a way where, it's somewhat entertaining.
Absolutely.
People can like it. We can have conversations with business leaders and celebrities that are thinking about these things as well, and and use some of my connections that I've generated over the years to make that a thing, and that's like my way of just like, because not everybody needs to like necessarily like get a super deep dive, but if you watch all the episodes, especially like some of the beginning episodes, like the first episode of the second season, like we're breaking stuff down, in a pretty good detail.
Dope.
And I think now we've got to the point where we can afford to like even like take, an episode and do like a deep dive into something and that type of stuff. And then there's little ebooks and stuff like that we can give people to go in deeper and just really do that. But that's the goal, is like to reach it. Like the goal is what I want to reach 10 million people.
Come on.
So I can reach 10 million people and get them for their wheels to turn on and say like, I need to pay more attention to these things.
Real.
Because even if you're not going to work in these fields, which I'd recommend that you maybe do.
Absolutely.
Go
ahead.
But even if you're not, you're going to have to end up voting on some of these things on the ballot. You're going to have to vote like,
so true.
Whether or not, this is okay, whether or not an AI is going to have, rights, or whether this, like all these things are stuff that's really going to happen.
You're saying something, bro. You're saying something.
Like, it's like, this is going to happen. You should have you should know how you feel.
Absolutely.
How you feel about this, and and also know like, okay, like people that knew what was happening knew that they should invest in NVIDIA, right? Like people that, are paying attention to stuff know, okay, the 4-year Bitcoin cycle.
Right.
So like, okay, boom, this is when the halving's gonna happen. This is when I should come in. This is when I should jump
Absolutely.
out. Like they knew, okay, the XRP case is getting to here. They knew about some of the case law of like, tornado cash, whatever. And that hasn't even happened yet. So if you're paying attention to that, then you got these like, some of these, other cryptos that are going to be affected by what's happening there, or some of the pressure they're putting on some of like the DeFi, protocol and stuff like that. That's going to affect your investments and things of that nature. So if you are paying attention to those things, you know what is going to happen. So it's almost like so people that make money when that happens seem like oracles or whatever. It's not really that. It's just that you are in a time where there's so much obvious things that are happening, where it's like obvious how to make money if you are initiated and pay attention to things a little bit. It's like duh, like when Bitcoin was $20,000 last year, you should have bought some because
you knew it was gonna fall.
Like, hey, the halving's about to happen, and then we know the ETF is coming. So
Absolutely.
Duh.
How do you feel about blockchain? Like with everything with you from your expertise. Like, were you early on in it? Did you take some time? Was it around a pandemic when you actually?
No, I've been around blockchain for a long time, since 2011 actually.
Gotcha.
So. This is in like that time I was in the military.
I was just about to say, you just getting out or just around that time, literally.
No, I was in. No,
Okay, gotcha.
I was like in the middle, like I was like halfway through. So the thing at that time with that I saw is I ended up getting into this group called the Elevation Group,
Gotcha.
which was created by this dude Mike Dillard or whatever the case may be. And some people like him, some people don't like him, doesn't really matter. He taught me some stuff, and he had this thing called the Elevation Group that he sold at this point. He doesn't have it anymore, but his thing was, we're going to teach you the black box strategies of the rich, right? And we're going to teach you the regular people. We're going to box it in. It's $67 a month, which is a lot of money for me at that time.
$67
a month.
Gotcha.
And you can get in, and it's going to go up to $197 if you don't get in at the beginning. So I was like, hey, I'm going to take my little $67 and get
I
in.
really want to know how he got. I'm that type of thinker. How did he get to 67?
No, I don't know.
Something about that. It just has to.
I don't know. He probably saw this how much money I want to make.
Like in a sense of like, it's breaking down. It had to be something like very strategic.
Because he's like, hey, we're only gonna accept like 1,000 people or something like that. So he wanted to make that much money per month or whatever.
Right.
So so people got in, and then eventually he did open it back up for $197 a month later on. But for $6-7 you get in, and then one of the things he talked about this thing called that was I never heard of it, and it came out in 2008. I didn't know about it back then. But it was Bitcoin, right? Wow. And I'm talking about other cryptocurrencies beside Bitcoin, but mostly we're talking about Bitcoin.
Right.
And he talked about the greatest wealth transfer in the history of the world. And I even have YouTube videos that are unlisted now. Wow. But where I talked about the greatest wealth transfer or whatever way back then, that's what even got my head moving around a lot of this different stuff.
Wow.
So, so I get on, I see that, I see what's happening. I tell people in the military about it. Right. They don't think I'm crazy or whatever the case may be. All right, well, look at me now.
Come on. Go ahead.
At the end of the day, the thing is that it was really weird to understand.
Right.
But I caught what he was talking about. And he talked about gold, silver, and Bitcoin, greatest wealth transfer, talked about inflation, all stuff like that. Before it was like really like super mainstream like that.
You said this around 2008. This was with the
housing. This was 2011. So Bitcoin came out in 2008.
But you're saying this was 2011.
2011 when I'm finding out about it.
Gotcha.
Right? Uh-huh. And the thing that was about to happen is the halving was about to happen. So the 2012 halving was about to occur. 2012, 2013. I can't really remember how the dates fell. Pretty sure it was like May 2012 or April 2012. But it was 2011 when I'm finding out, and he's telling them about the halving that's going to happen. Basically for people that don't know what that means every 4 years, the Bitcoin block reward for how many Bitcoins you mine that you get as a reward for successfully mining a block, it halves every 2 years. So then it puts, supply and demand pressure.
Gotcha.
And so basically you get a shock. Basically it's like If every 4 years toilet paper halved in how much abundance it had. Let's use that.
Gotcha.
Halved in abundance every 4 years. So that does a numeric shock to like basically people are trying to buy,
yes,
or whatever the case may be, and there's half as much to go around of
gotcha.
new Bitcoins going around for people to be able to get. And so as a result of that, the price just jumps all the time.
How do you feel about whales? Like when they, like, how does that work as far as
when they sell? I mean, when a whale sells, I mean, Bitcoin whale is a whole nother thing, but like in general in crypto, whale sells is going to tank the price. That's just how things work. That's the reason why like people say like Elon has 200 million. Well, he can't sell 150 million of Tesla. Well, the price becomes zero immediately the moment he does that.
Absolutely.
You can't do that.
Absolutely.
So there's no way for him to get access to the money except for taking loans against it. It's not really like, you know, if you don't know how that works, I mean, you can just be like, you just give everybody $100. The moment he started doing that, from the first block of the stock he sold, each time he kept selling, the price is going to keep going down. It won't be worth the same amount by the time it's done.
Absolutely.
He can only you know, take loans against it, and you leverage that money and whatever. And if you take a loan against something, it's not income. That's why you don't pay. That's why you don't pay any
taxes on it.
You don't pay no tax on it. I mean, that's just, it's very simple how it works.
Absolutely simple.
But
that's real.
People turn it into a lot of stuff, and it's a lot of politicians like purposely, you know, saying things in such a way to make it sound a way that it should not sound. And the person that's really going to end up with the issue is really going to be the middle class people that are, you know, upper middle class people. That's what's really going to get stuck, or small business owners. It's not really going to be the billionaire that gets stuck, because they still are not going to make money.
Absolutely.
They're not going to make money because, you know, unless you actually literally go after, you know, appreciation, which is also dumb if you do that, because let's say you go after, their money went up from, their net worth. It's like if you have a house.
Right.
Your house goes from 500,000 to $1 million, but you don't sell it. You don't have any money.
Absolutely.
And if they tax you on the fact that it went up, then if you don't have that cash, you're going to have to sell the asset in order to do it. And then now you had to sell the asset.
It wasn't a profit.
So it's like, you know, like you may make a profit, but I mean, now you got to sell the asset.
Profit. Absolutely.
And so now things are moving every single time. Like you don't want anybody to mess with unrealized gains, because it's really that's stealing from people. Basically, they're saying like, this thing went up in value, so you got to pay us some tax on it.
Gotcha.
Like you're stealing stuff from me or forcing me to liquidate
that classic property tax. Exactly.
Like you don't really. That's not really a benefit. And also, you don't really want to give the government like more power than they should have over things, because if the problem is, let's say if you have a benevolent leader in charge of something, and they always are going to do things the right way, right? Especially in America, 4 years later, you might have an asshole that's going to be there. Oh, my bad.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? You might have somebody crazy 4 years from then that's going to use that same power you gave to the good person.
Yep.
Like, you can't just keep giving power away to an office or give power away to a group, because you can't control who's going to always be in that group or who weasels their way into that group. And also, like, it just doesn't behoove you. That's the reason why I am for for the poor to organize and things of that nature, etc. But I do think one of the I think there's a lot of things wrong with capitalism.
Go ahead.
I feel like I don't even need to say them, because like people already know them. But there's a problem with socialism too, because with socialism you give the power to the government. You give them the power to make all decisions and do the distributions and do all that stuff like that. And so you still have to put. So basically, you're taking the money. You're taking the stuff away from people that earn the money, at least, putting it in the hands of people that did not earn it
and can delegate and can
just do whatever. And normally, people that did not earn something don't actually know what to do with it when they have it, and they don't treat it the right way. So there's really no real super benefit between the two. I think the best thing is to strengthen democracy instead, and to make sure that every person has a voice in what should occur with the resources that we do have we've already decided that we have income tax, we have property tax, we have these things. We don't need to expand any of those things. We need to just make sure that we strengthen the ability for us to be able to have a voice in making the calls on what occurs and hold our representatives accountable and that sort of thing. That system that we have now, like, is right as long as you don't let it go too far off on one direction or the other direction. And I think that it's a really, really, really big error for people to be super mega. I'm just 100% free market capitalism. Just let whoever's got the money like do whatever
they gotta do.
You know, and let's just have a slave class of people that are poor and just work for rich people, whatever, and do things that way. That's a problem. And also it's a problem to say like, hey, we're gonna make sure nobody can get rich. And here's what we're going to do. Yep. If you do get rich, we're going to punish you for being rich. And then we're also going to make sure that the government has control over all resources, etc. Neither one of those situations is going to work. We've already seen them not work. We've already seen what will happen in America if you let free market capitalism go too crazy. And we've already seen what happens in communism and socialism when you let that go too crazy. Neither one works.
Absolutely.
Right? And the only thing that we've ever had kind of work is a little like mix between the two, with like a constitutional democracy with representatives, and then to have certain things be controlled by the government and certain things be controlled by the free market, and that system works well.
That's the best way.
And there's no way to make it perfect.
Do you feel like you have a place in politics later in your life?
Who knows? We'll see what happens.
Is that something you would want to pursue?
No. But you always hear people that don't want it. It's probably the best people to do it.
Go ahead.
But I think I'd rather just tell the people there what they should do. But I'm not against it, but it would have to be for good reason. But it's, definitely not on my agenda. But I just really think that we need to be careful with, like this push that we have like in the Black community for, Marxism, etc. It's not like those thought processes came from somewhere where they loved Black people either. You know what I mean? So It's like, it's just taking more of, if you want to put it that way, your oppressor's thought process. You're just taking the other side of your oppressor's thought processes and then turning that into, what you think should happen.
Theme should be correct. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the correct move. I think like that an amalgam of the two things or whatever, like, because this system that we have, where we had free market capitalism and the government being strong at the same time, right, led to us being able to pay off the World War II debt, do all this stuff before Bush got in office, right?
Go ahead.
Like we were already in a good spot right there, and then that's the reason why they attacked the World Trade Center, etc. Because their thing was like, okay, America's doing too well financially, whatever, and they're gonna get even more influence because now they're not in debt the same way.
Wow.
They're not in a deficit, not in those things like that. That Clinton left us in that position, whether you like him or not.
Wow.
That's where he left us at, right? And then Bush gets into office. And not saying that all of this stuff would have went the way that it did, but we know what happened with 9/11. We know,
absolutely.
We know we went into major debt to finance these wars. We went into a deficit because he cut this, cut that, and then we went into like $1 trillion deficit.
Right.
So like we're spending more money than we have coming in. And he had this thought process that the money is not real. We should never have a surplus in the government because it's not the government's money. Which I can see where he's going.
Absolutely. That makes sense. That does.
But at the same time, that it makes more sense for the government to be able to save money.
Right.
So this way, when they want to give money to Ukraine, they don't have to print new money. They have money sitting around.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
which further we could go into that, bro. But yeah, that
like, you know what I'm saying? That should be the situation. Like, yeah, we had a little surplus. The surplus is for when we want to do something like that.
Right.
When we want to go ahead and we want to finance this other thing over here, we want to do that. There's money sitting around where it's ready to go do that, so we don't print new money when it's time to do that.
Bro, go ahead.
So you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of wild, the way that we've kind of let things kind of go. But we literally have never been back in a good financial situation since since 2004-ish. We've just been bad ever since.
How do you feel, 20 years removed, how do you feel going into 2025? Financially, you're well off. How do you feel about this economy, as far as thriving, even about our people? I want to touch on that too. Like when we first met, you was like, when you see me, more likely than not, I'm going to have on some type of heritage, representing who we are, like in your position, which you are the 1% of the 1% of top earners as black men. You probably see, in the same light of I can Uber, DoorDash, everything. But this other scale of who you are, you see kind of both fields, man. You've seen the military. A lot of us wouldn't even know what that even means to go serve for this country. How do you feel? What's your total take on, this economy? Like, as black people, as a black man who's thriving, who's successful, what is your take on everything?
My take is, when you go through a door, right, you could go in there and just go be comfortable and then just, stack up some money and just not care about anything. Or you can try to bring more people in.
Go ahead.
Behind you or whatever. So that's like my goal there. And then when it comes to, you talked about the heritage stuff or whatever, I could wear Gucci, Fendi, blah, blah, blah. Right. I mean, still gonna wear my Jordans. I'm going to say, though, that
he's black.
He's black, right. Though. I mean, yeah, Nike, whatever, blah, blah.
Right, blah, blah, blah. But
hey, yes. I got to do something that I like.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to wear my Jordans, though.
That's right.
I got Jordans on right now,
Absolutely.
Of course.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ones.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I'm still going to do that, but I'm always going to have a fresh pair of J's.
Real.
But beside that, I'm going to wear, because every single time you spend money,
go ahead,
you are voting with that dollar, right? You're voting with that dollar to give that money to the people that benefit off of that. You are
saying something, bro.
And so when I buy this, go ahead, right? I'm giving money to the people that create this fabric in Nigeria. Come on, man. I'm giving money to the designer that that's right. And his family and his two little girls, etc. Like that's where I'm giving the money. If I use this podcast studio, I'm circulating money now, what I'm saying, with with you.
Respect, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like one thing that we should do is, I'm all for we need to have trade and
right.
and do stuff like that with other groups, and I'm gonna go down to the Chinese food restaurant when I want to.
Come on, that's
whatever,
right.
And
absolutely.
we should all be doing stuff.
Absolutely.
But there's something about the dollar should circulate through your community.
Come on, man.
More times, like the moment I bring it outside of my community, they're not going to bring that money back to Amadi Naka. They're not going to bring that money back, to Karl Griffin. They're not bringing that money back to us.
Absolutely.
That money is now gone. It's going to go wherever they want it to go. But when I bring that money into Amadi Naka might do business with Karl Griffin, might do business with this company, might do business, like that money stays here.
That's right.
And people don't get that. They're like, I just spent the money on whatever was cheapest for me.
Come on, bro.
And I mean, if you only think individualistically, and that's something that is really a Western thing, that I'm glad that I grew up where I grew up, because I got to see that it's not just about doing stuff for yourself. That's one thing that I'll say, the person that probably had the biggest impact outside of anybody in my family is, like I said, Craig Barnave, right? Whenever he would hit a lick or whatever, like whenever he would figure out something, he'd bring the whole block in on it. Gotcha. And make sure everybody can eat.
Everybody eats.
So when he figured out, like, there was this thing, right, back in the day, in the 90s, early 2000s, where like everybody was like duplicating CDs, and we were selling CDs on Jamaica Avenue, whatever, all that stuff like that, mixtapes.
That's right.
All that stuff is happening, right? So somebody had to be printing those things. Right. He was printing CDs. You never would have known. He had the big towers in the basement.
Go ahead.
He's printing up CDs. He getting graphic designers and whatever, like in the hood or whatever, to make the flyers, make the logos, do all this stuff like that. And he doing all on 223rd on the block. And then all these kids in the neighborhood, 13, 14 years old, they working for him, getting paid $7, $8, $9, $10 an hour. You know what I'm saying? And they go out there producing the CDs, going out, meeting this person, meeting that one. Wow. He got his Barnave elevator protection pads. Who's he employing? He's employing the people in his community to go ahead and bring them out. And people like him, you would never even know, but he's a hero at the end of the day, doing all that.
Legend.
Because he made sure everybody eat.
Wow.
Because it's not just about him eating. Like, cause he can make more money if he did some other things in other movies. He even told him, for I could blah 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 blah. I could do this, whatever, right? But he would say to me a bunch of times, and I didn't understand when I was younger why he kept saying it to me. I think because he saw something in me, like I might, whatever. But first time I start making money, I think I hear him in the back of my head, like,
gotcha.
I gotta go in. This is what I need to do because I did that.
Go ahead.
I need to go ahead and I need to do X. I need to do Y. I need to do Z. I need to do whatever. I remember when I was, making money before because I was, doing mortgages, whatever, way back in the day, and he needed to refinance his house. He'd go anywhere. He's like, I don't even care who got the best interest rate. I don't care who got the best interest rate.
Go ahead, bro.
How am I going to make sure you get paid, young man? How am I going to make sure you get paid? I want you to get paid. I don't care. And his wife was like, oh, well, I heard that Chase got it at 4.25. I don't care who got it at what.
Bro.
We doing it with him. Period.
You don't hear stuff like that, bro.
Period. So if it costs me 0.25 extra,
bro.
I don't care.
That is going.
He's the one getting the money. Period.
Wow.
And
imagine if we all thought
if we all thought like that, but other communities think that way.
Bro,
you know what I'm saying? And
absolutely right.
And he tried to bring that thought process back. And you know what? I don't think everybody heard him, but I heard him. You know what I'm saying? I heard him, and it's impactful to me.
Come on.
So I'm always going to make sure that I do things in that way.
Right.
Respect. And you know what I'm saying? And it is what it is. And you know what I hear from a lot of people too that even do try to do business with black people, et cetera. They always say something like, whenever something goes wrong, it's like, that's why you can't work with black people. I hear people say that all the time. Bro. I never heard him say that even when things went bad. I seen him, lose money on frequent occasions or whatever for things happening. And I never heard him say, he might say it to himself, but you know what? Next day, he was still doing what had to be done. Not saying he will definitely work with other people,
right? But
he's always gonna try to bring business back, circulate money in the community, do things for
that's right.
etc. Like that's just who he is at the end of the day. That's who he is. That's where
his principles lie.
And that's his core principles. And he's not perfect. Or whatever the case may be, he'll be the first one to tell you. So I'm not gonna try to say it like that, but for me, he's like
that man stood on that.
Exactly. He like I don't know. I don't got nothing negative to say about him.
Real, bro.
Even there was one time, him and my pops didn't like each other for a little bit of time.
Gotcha.
Like I don't even know why. There was some adult stuff that I didn't pay attention to.
Right, of course.
But I was just like, look, Dad, look. I love you and all, we still, I'm your son regardless, but I'm still rocking with Craig till I'm just gonna not do it in front of you.
Right.
I'm like, that's my guy.
Right.
I don't care if you like him or don't like him. And but then eventually he was like, yeah, I like Craig.
That's real.
My father just doesn't like a lot of people in general.
Those people. What was your dad? His trade? What was going on?
So he don't want me to say.
Okay, but no, you don't have to go there.
But at the end of the day, he had. So the thing is, he did a special thing in law. And
gotcha.
I'll just leave it at that.
Cool.
So
gotcha.
And so he was very strict and stuff like that,
gotcha.
Which was good because
absolutely,
also it's like
bro. Absolutely.
also
on,
like
bro.
I can't really get in trouble or whatever because
absolutely
what we gonna do?
Come on.
So and he's a really smart guy because and I think you know what, I'll tell you. You can edit, right? So I'll tell you if you need to cut it out, but I don't think you do. But I'll double check with him. But the thing he did is he was like an intelligence investigator. So
Gotcha.
like,
Okay.
he, was like really into like basically figuring out stuff and having to investigate this and find this out.
Gotcha.
And train people and do all this stuff like that. And it was like a special thing that was like with like he started off as like correction officer.
Gotcha. Okay.
And which is crazy that he ended up there because he was a thug that he took a test. It was like, well,
we got police.
ain't nobody can beat me up in there.
I'm about to say police your own.
Yeah, like, can't nobody beat me up in there.
Right.
Ended up doing it. And then, then he kind of was good at doing that stuff. So he ended up doing some other thing,
Gotcha.
but it was still directly through them or whatever. So that was like kind of yeah.
That's dope. That's dope.
That's kind of like how he went through. But like I said, there was a lot of interesting conversations we ended up having over the years because of like his profession. And then like also there was like a dichotomy there where between what like his feelings about like what was best for the community and also what he
was involved with.
what he does for a living, etc.
Go ahead.
And like it would be very, very interesting, right? Because then he'd tell me to read like all these like books or whatever about like the this Black revolutionary read, or like reading like the this from Malcolm X or whatever, like reading this different stuff. And I'd be like, I'd sit down and be like, but anyway.
Hey, right.
You know what I'm saying? But like, but he I
know, bro.
No matter where he was, he always understood who he was.
Gotcha.
And what, and he dealt with like certain what's the word I'm going to say, like I'll just say racism at the end of the day.
Okay.
In his job and things of that nature. And so there's a lot to unpack. He'd have to unpack it himself. And like tell everything, but one thing he did know he needed to do was like, hey, we need to pay the bills,
bro.
And
at the end of the day, that's what he said.
But how I could tell he didn't really want to be there, because how some people, they wait a little bit of time after they're ready, hit the age for retirement.
Right.
It was year 20 on the dot. The next day, he ain't never ever looked
at. That man had a plan.
He was like, "Look, I am gone.
I'm locked in. I need that picture. I need that 4-1.
I'm out. You will never see me walk back into his place,
bro. Wow.
He ain't never turned back around.
No different department, nothing.
Nope. I'm not doing a single thing. Make sure my checks show up every single month, and that's it.
That's right.
You will never see me again.
Real. Bro, let me switch topics. How has, in your journey, in your walk, you mentioned, how many kids do you have now?
4 kids.
How has fatherhood changed and shaped you as an entrepreneur? The value of time, the real currency, time. How has that shifted your perspective on life?
It has done a lot, because at the end of the day, you know that you aren't doing things just for yourself.
Real.
And it makes you thinking about what the next generation is going to do even more, because part of you is part of the next generation.
Absolutely.
Right? It's different than like when you don't have children or whatever. You can kind of just be like, well, when I'm gone, I'm gone.
Yep.
It's more so like, I care about what's coming after me, because me is after me.
Absolutely.
Part of me is after me, if you think about it that way. So that's definitely done a lot. And then also just, now my oldest children are teenagers. And so, and I know what it was like being a teenager.
Go ahead.
And so, they're girls though, so a little bit different, but I understand what's like being a teenager. I understand like that 4 years. Now I know how short 4 years is, but that 4 years feels like in high school, feels like it lasts forever.
Bro, that's so
It feels
true.
like it's like 80 years when you're going through it.
True.
But for the adults during that time, it's like, and it's done.
And then they graduate. Now it's college. Now, absolutely.
But I know that I have to pay extra attention to this small window of time, that's going to shape them for the rest of their life. Because I know how much that short period of time shaped me. And I know, like, hey, if my parents decided like they were going to work overtime for 4 months straight, that felt like I didn't see them for 5 years.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Like different things like that. Like I understand that. And so I know that, you know, I need to, you know, be present. Like for example, like even, I lost like a $10,000 a month contract that I had, right? Because I refused to miss my daughter's orchestra recitals.
Come on.
Right? And it's maybe not that big a deal, maybe dumb for me to do so, but I can always go make $10,000 from something else.
Respect.
But I never can go back in time and be present at the recital. Right? So it was like, hey, what's the choice? And that's the choice.
That's right.
Right?
Bro.
I need to be there. And, you know, I need to be there for my daughter, had a play.
That's right.
Or whatever case, like these things like that, you can't get that time back.
That's so true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and they're always going to remember that, you know, hey, you were always there, or you weren't there.
That's right. They will.
Or that you made an effort to be there. They'll know those things. And, it's harder for them to try to conceptualize that, oh, you know, daddy couldn't come because he had to make sure he kept this, you know. Instead,
they don't understand that.
They don't understand that. So I'd rather just be like,
so
I'm just going to take the L, you know what I'm saying? We're going to swipe this American Express card.
That's right. And get right. That's right.
We're going to go ahead and get something else.
That's right.
And then we're going to go and, you know, do what needs to be done. Like, you know, it is what it is. And I feel like that's a short window of time where like you need to make those sacrifices like during high school, like you really need, like some people think that like the time when you're raising your kids when they're younger, when they're smaller, I think you definitely are.
They're being nurtured at that time.
But that high school time, that
absolutely, bro,
that learning to be an adult time, that's the time when you have to lock in. You need to be the best version of yourself as a parent.
Bro, go ahead.
And you need to be prepared to take whatever L's, you know, get thrown at you, whatever. So I also wanted to make sure that like when they got to this stage, it's something that was in my head. Like no reason that was like I can't stay in the military, because I would still, if I was still in right now, I wouldn't be able to control that.
Go ahead.
Like they told me I need to deploy, I'm gone.
I have to go.
Like they tell me I need to do this, I need to be here. But now I can kind of control it. Like I might still need to go to another country, whatever, and I can't control that. I might need to do that because I need to do stuff.
Absolutely.
But if I am around, I'm gonna give you time.
The best.
And I'm gonna give you the time that I have, you know, and to me it's the most important thing. And that may not always be, you know, advantageous to me and everything, but you know, at the end of the day, like nobody else is here because I forced them to be here.
Real.
You know what I mean? Like I decided to make you and make you appear on the earth.
Absolutely.
So
it's my
duty. Exactly. My responsibility to you. Nobody else is my responsibility the same way except you.
So true.
So like it's my you know, my responsibility to be here for you and do things for you, and you'll never have to pay me back for any of those things.
Absolutely.
Right? I hate when parents say stuff like,
"Go ahead, bro."
I would get mad. I would get mad at my kids if they told me like, "I made it $10 million. I got to give you $1 million." No, you don't. You don't have to give me nothing. That's your money.
Bro. Absolutely.
I can't stop you from buying me a present or whatever. I'm not going to be mad either if you really feel like you want to do it. But don't feel like you ever obligated.
Go ahead, bro.
You have no obligation to give me a dime, to put any energy toward me, to do anything. One thing I ask is only thing I ask is don't let me be old and you know and nobody's around to at least help me out a little bit.
Absolutely.
I'll make sure there's my own money for you to point it to stuff for me. But I may not be able to be in the right mind to do it myself. To make sure somebody's there to wipe me and change me and put me in the thing or whatever. Bro, make sure I'm all right. Beside that,
you saying something.
But beside that, you know, and hopefully I'll never be in the case where like I want to live long, but hopefully I'll never be in a situation where like I'm that out of it at that age, but I can't fully control it.
Absolutely, bro.
But hopefully I'm never in a position where I'm that out of it that I can't, because people in my family, I've never had anybody in my family that's been so out of it that they need that.
Real.
and and they still.
It's so, bro. My dad, he says, his uncle told him growing up, when he had us, it was like, and he tells us this all the time. We talk all the time. Having lunch with him today, but he always says, man, he always taught me. He was like, take care of them kids. So one day, them kids gonna take care of you. You know what I'm saying? And it's so true, man. It's so true. That's what it is, man. Like the kids, a rich billionaire, just heard, this was about 2 years ago. And he was like, what do you consider what is success to you? He was like, man, you know what the success is to me? So my kids still call me on the phone and talk to me. I was like, what? All the money, billions, but it's the kids. You know what I mean? Like they still have their relationships. It's so true, bro. It's so true. Like that's while we on that, when it's all said and done, Big Poppa Cole, what do you want your legacy? What do you think your legacy will be? What do you want it to be?
Honestly, I would like for my children to be in a good position where they're able to do what it is that is important to them. Like one thing, and this is part of answering your question, it might seem I'm going off topic for a little bit, but my daughter, when she was younger, right, initially she wasn't good at school and stuff like that, but she was really, really good at art. Gotcha. Right? She can draw you right now in that pose, and it'll look exactly like you. And I, think my parents did a great job, right? But like I told you, that thing with Mr. Turner, right? He said that, hey, I should do this, but this is when people didn't know computers would be what they are now. Go ahead. Right? So when he said that, my parents basically, when I told my parents, this is what I really want to do, I want to do this. And obviously I end up doing it eventually anyway, because I can write my own story. Gotcha. But like I had a chance, like being a special program in that school to accelerate and do that. And I seen people that got a chance to do that when they were in that school, and they end up doing really well, like my friend Ken and stuff like that, ended up being able to do that. But my parents didn't let me change into that because they thought that, just go be a doctor because you're smart or whatever the case may be. Right. But I never would like doing the stuff that you need to do to be a doctor. Gotcha. So it's not like it was really a thing that maybe I could push myself to do, but I'd be unhappy.
Right. Understand.
Right. So I realized that, if I, one thing I wish they would have done differently, listen to what I said that I'm good at. And instead of worrying about like what they think is like the best thing for me, right? Like worry about making me be able to be the best at this thing that I'm good at.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
And so like other people in my family would be like, oh man, Amber needs to learn this so she can be a nurse or do this or whatever. I'm like, all that stuff is fine because you can wake up at age 30 and decide you want to be a nurse. Absolutely. And just go get your ASN and call that. There's no time limit on that. Absolutely. You don't need to be a nurse at 18. So true. But if you're really good at art, etc., you can't pick yourself up at 30 and decide to change into that. Do this. You need to do that from 6, 7 years old. So I've been putting a whole lot of energy into making sure she gets her 10,000 hours and she gets great at this, whatever. So if she wants to do it. That's right. And she wants to follow it all the way through, that she's been exposed to everything she needs to be exposed to have a chance to succeed at that. Because I feel like, one thing that E.T. the hip hop preacher said one time, he said that daddies that their job is to make the way easy. That's right. That's what you're supposed to do. That's why you can't get mad at LeBron James or whatever. That's what he was supposed to do. Absolutely. He's supposed to set his son up
for success.
Exactly. What are you mad about? What are we hustling for? Because I get mad when people say I don't respect nobody, that they didn't have to struggle or whatever. LeBron got it out the mud already. Come on, bro. So he's supposed to, his son's supposed to get out the mud too. Then what was the point of him getting out the mud? You're supposed
hopefully you would have to go through that.
Exactly. So hopefully you don't have to go through that, bro. You're supposed to pull them. You shouldn't that struggle shouldn't be multi-generational same struggle.
Come on, man.
So I want to make sure that one, I can be in a position where if I ever need to give my daughter a job, I can. Right, go ahead. Right? Go ahead. And that she can go out and then go hard on this, but you know what? While other art students might have to be waiting tables, whatever, she can do that. Because she can go ahead and grind and do what she need to do. But she knows that she can put 100% into that. And she can go as hard in that as she wants because she doesn't have any fear that there's not a place for me to go.
Go ahead. Absolutely.
And I think that's important.
That's what being there for your kid is about.
Exactly.
That's what it's about.
Exactly.
That crutch, that being there for them. You know, you don't need a payday loan. You don't need, I'm there. I'm that crutch. You need somewhere to be. I'm here. Like that's what it's about, bro. Being that backbone, not doing for, being that backbone in real life, letting them fail, but in real time, letting them fail. But that's what it's all about, bro. That's what it's setting them up for success.
Pushing them in that right direction.
The best way. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. That's real, bro.
So for the legacy piece, I want for them to all be able to say that I was given an opportunity to try to do the thing that I wanted to do, and whether they succeeded or not, because some of these things that you might wish you want to be able to do, let's say be an NBA player, it's a small margin of people that can make it all the way through.
Absolutely.
Right? So being a software engineer or something like that, something that more people can do. You can just do.
Up and down, do. Yep.
But being some of those things are going to be more difficult, I want them to be able to say that I left it all out there. I tried to do it, and I was granted the opportunity to go ahead and do it. And I also want them to be able to have some place to be able to fall to, if you want to say it that way, with their rental properties and their this and their that. They have those things to be able to do so that they can go after what they want, and they're not just doing what they need to do to survive.
Absolutely.
And then secondly, I would like to help thousands of people be able to take care of their families.
That's right.
By being aware of the changes that are coming down the pipeline from like 2032 to 2046. It's like that big 14-year period there is going to be crazy, and I want people get that I've helped people get to that place and be prepared for it, and then thrive where they wouldn't have thrived otherwise. And then also, really that's it.
Real, bro.
Now everything else just breaking those things down more, like my family and then the world at large.
Respect.
But those are the things, if anybody cares enough about me to talk about me when I'm not here, that's what they would talk about.
Respect. With $100 million in your bank account tomorrow morning, what changes about you?
Not much changes, but I mean, if I have $100 million in my bank account tomorrow, what are the things I do? First thing I do is I open up a venture capital firm.
Go ahead.
Right? I think about this all the time.
Go ahead.
So I'm glad. I didn't know you were going to ask me this, but I mean, I'm always prepared to answer this question. So I'm opening up a venture capital firm, right? And the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to invest in, I'm going to hold a conference. I'm going to get with all of my connections that I have. We're going to host a conference, and we're going to educate people on startups, and we're going to talk about all the different places that the Black community needs, like all different type of businesses that we need. And then we're going to invest in these companies. We're going to do two different sides. We're going to have grants, and we're going to have venture capital safe investments that we're going to do, right? And we're going to give grants to those businesses that need to be there for infrastructure purposes, so everybody else can succeed. We're just going to give them the money, right? So that we can have that infrastructure. And then secondly, the way how we're going to keep the money circulating is we're going to give safe investments, which are simple agreements for future equity, to these seed stage companies that need to build other businesses that we are not in right now, but that we need to be in, and we're going to back them up with that money, and then we're going to raise additional money outside that $100 million, but that first $100 million is going to be the thing that moves us in the right direction.
Absolutely.
But we're going to do that. And the goal is going to be also to incubate those companies, not just give them the safe investment, just send them out there, to incubate those companies and have them all use each other's services, etc., and incubate those companies together inside of the ecosystem to all work together.
I love that.
That's what happens.
That's what's happening out there in the world. That's exactly what's happening. I love that, bro.
So all of that money, outside of about $10 million, would go into that.
Real.
Right? And this is saying I have $100 million, and I'm assuming I've already paid the taxes.
The tax on it. Right.
So I already have $100 million.
Absolutely.
Not that I have 50 million.
55, right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I've got $100 million.
Absolutely.
Right? That's what I do. And then after that $10 million, I use that for my family. And what I'm going to do with that money is I would go and I would buy, some additional commercial real estate.
Real.
And then I'll also buy a certain amount of a couple of cryptocurrencies. I won't say because I don't want to give anybody financial advice.
Gotcha, absolutely.
But that have staking programs so I can circulate that money. And I believe there's going to be some future in them.
Gotcha.
And I would hold on to those for the long term, and I would manage the commercial property. Like for example, I could easily be able to get a building for easy about $4-6 million. It needs some renovations. And then have about 70, 80 units.
Absolutely.
You're talking about $1,000 a unit, 80,000. I don't have a mortgage on it because I already just paid it cash.
Absolutely.
And so now I've got money for forever. There's no issue.
Absolutely,
bro. There's no issue. I got income. I'm good to go.
Good to go.
So now my family's taken care of, and now I'm also trying to make sure that these businesses that I've invested in, that the money is turning over, and then the goodwill that I have with some other investors and stuff like that, they should also be able to invest in these companies too.
That's right.
And at the end of the day, venture capital works in like you invest, $100,000, let's say about 50 companies. So let's say you invest $5 million. You only need about 2 or 3 of those companies. And I believe in our people enough that 2 or 3 of them are going to be successful. You only need 2 or 3 of them to be successful because the money's you invest in the seed stage or pre-seed stage. That money's going to 100x,
absolutely,
500x for them being successful.
You're saying something.
So now I'm going to go ahead and make the money back on those big ones. And now when we get that, now when we're able to cash out on those companies, we can go ahead and reinvest that back into the next ones. Go ahead. And then we also can attract future investment because they see as well
what you've done.
So that's
you got it, bro. You understand it, bro. You understand it.
That's 100% what I would do.
Absolutely.
If somebody gave me $100 million right now, that like hundreds, thousands of people would benefit immediately.
$100 million a day, a decade from now. What does that $100 million look like to you? Your net worth. A safe, honest answer? What would you think you would be worth in 10 years with that in your bank account tomorrow morning?
With that in my bank account tomorrow morning, I'm the $30-40 billion.
Come on, brother.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like if somebody did that, I would do the exact vision I just told you. Because I'm saying that's what I would do with it because I believe I'm gonna have it one day. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Go ahead.
And if I had it today, it'd be better if I had it later. Because right now, if I had it now today in 2025, as opposed to if I get it in 2037 or something like that, which is in my head, like what's gonna happen. And too many things have already gonna happen, so it's gonna be harder for me to do certain things. But if I had it today, $100 million tomorrow, I'm changing. Everything's changing because because that money won't be for me. That money is going, I said, 90% is going directly into doing that, and then we're also going to attract other investment, and we're going in. I believe that those grants can be one thing. That money's just given away, right? And then the rest of the money into the venture capital, because you got to remember, it's like the average company that needs a start, right?
Yes.
With that would need that venture capital injection or angel investment injection.
Absolutely.
They need about $250,000, and then their business is going to have exactly what it needs to prove out their business plan, right?
To get more funding.
Exactly. So I go ahead and I give $200. Think about this, right? Let's say I have $80 million. So $250,000. I mean, look at how many companies.
240. That's over 240.
Yeah, like
companies.
No, 250, right? That's about 320 companies.
No, I'm sorry. No, you're saying 250,000.
Yep. And I have $80 million.
Oh yes, bro. Like that.
So
that's 2,400. I think it's about 2,400 companies.
No, wait. 250. Let's do the math.
I'm about to do the math right now. Yeah. So
250.
Four of those was $1 million.
Yeah,
4 is $1 million. So 80 times 4.
Yep.
320. You're right. 320.
Like
Absolutely. That's right. Absolutely.
I'm making sure.
Absolutely. 320.
So 300. So it's 320 companies immediately that we can have start up immediately, and that's just without getting any external investment.
And you're saying,
and out of those 320, we just need like 4 or 5 of them to do well, go to the moon. 10X, some of them are going to break even. Some of them are going to do that. Some of them are going to completely fail. Right. But immediately we have these 320 companies that now and we're going to be strategic about, we can't just now with the grants, right? That's why I said 80 million, because 10 million we just giving away.
Right.
And now those grants are for like, we need that infrastructural stuff then and there, et cetera. Other 10 million for my family to make sure that we get that commercial property, we get that set up so that we have that, we have those rental properties or whatever. Right. And we go ahead and we have our money doing what it needs to do, right? But that group of companies there that we can now invest in those portfolio companies, they all are going to only be companies that I see a pathway for them to succeed, and they all can benefit from each other.
Absolutely.
Right? And they all may help
Absolutely.
each other be successful.
Absolutely.
It's one big cohort
Absolutely.
of companies that have all been injected with capital at the same time. And the thing is that we also aren't going to make investments into companies that I can't convince somebody who can come behind and write a seven-figure check.
Go ahead.
Right? That can write that seven-figure check that will be able to invest. And I can make those deals because I can explain
Absolutely.
my thesis to, let's say, a Mac Ventures who could write a seven-figure $2 million check, right? I can talk to even A16Z if I want to, right? And their cultural leadership fund and talk about, because they could write those seven-figure checks. We could talk to Harlem Capital. We could talk to other people that have money, right? But I'm telling them, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this right now. We're not going to do it at any enhanced speed. It's however long it takes for me to find that many companies that fit the thesis. But we find those companies that fit the thesis. We make sure we educate people on this is what we're trying to do. Because if they know that if I do this, I am going to be able to get the money and I can be successful, but I know I'm building this thing for 10, this community.
20, 30, absolutely.
They understand that. I'm going to go ahead and find those people that I can help make that happen and make sure they can secure that initial investment that they need, plus get access to resources that we have access to, and that they can be inside this network and then also be able to get that seven-figure check from Harlem Capital or Mac Ventures or a Cross Current or from Aaron, who used to be at Blavity, from his fund, that can write the seven-figure checks. Real. And so set these people up, because it's not about me being able to make the most money off of these people. It's about me taking the legwork to identify all these companies. That's the hardest thing for some of the venture capitalists, to find the person. And also me as a technical expert, I can look and see the validity of what they're trying to build, and I can see this can actually work. And I can even put, in the right company, I can even put my hands to work in it as well, because like I said, I'm never afraid to go sweep the floors.
Real, absolutely.
So if they need, I need an API system or whatever, blah blah blah, I go cook that up for you in a couple weeks. And I already gave you $250. I don't need to get paid
for that. I can do this.
I go do this real quick. Right? So, and then also you got to remember, like, that money that's not getting generated from that commercial real estate or whatever, that's money that keeps circulating. I don't need all of that money that's circulating from that. Like I said, you got let's say 40 to 60 units making $1,000 a month on average.
$500,000, a little bit over $500,000.
Exactly. And some of that money can get reinvested and set up, and help expand like my agency that I already have going right now. And so some of these companies can even use my agency or whatever. An agency can grow, because that's already a business that works on its own.
That's right.
Don't need nothing extra.
That's right.
Right? So that's already doing that. And so I can help some of these companies expand, et cetera. So I'm glad you asked me that question.
Elaborate.
Yeah,
bro, I love that.
Yeah, I know what I would do with that money.
That is a crazy answer, bro. And I never heard it like that. Bro, you know exactly what you want to do. No, I know exactly,
because I believe one day I'll have it. And if somebody put it in my hand, it's going to work.
Respect, bro.
So
respect,
is what it is.
Bro, respect. Big Bobby Cole, man. I have one question that I asked before we get out of here. It's a new question I'm asking. If you could look into that camera, if you could just tell.
And this one right here?
Yeah, this one right here.
Okay.
Your great-grandchildren, your great-great-grandchildren watching Big Bobby Cole right now, what's some words of advice you would give to them about this day in 2024, 2025, and what this life is about?
What this life is about? I mean, the life is about what you make it, right? And no matter what age you're listening to or hearing this, if it's 2096 or something like that, if for some reason you want to watch old podcasts from the 20s, I don't know. Absolutely. But let's say that you do, and you happen to stumble upon your ancestor, just know that at the end of the day, that I was praying for your success. And if nobody else in your life around you believes in you, I believe in you. And, I want you to experience everything that there is in the world that you're in that day. No matter what age you live in, there's always opportunities. There's always things out there. And I want you to take a survey of what is in your current world. Like, don't focus on the negative, no matter what's going on. I don't know what wars are going on, what abundance is there. I don't know what's happening. There's no way for me to be able to tell you what is happening. Only you know what's happening outside your window right now. But take a survey of what's happening and figure out what it is that everybody is doing. And always remember the picks and shovel thesis, right? Like the people that made money when when the gold rush was happening in America, people made money because they found gold and struck oil. But the people that made consistent money were the people that were equipping those people with the tools they needed to be able to go and try to look for the gold and try to look for the oil and do those things. So if you figure out what it is everybody else around you needs in order to get from point A to point B, what your community needs, what your country needs, what the world needs, you figure out what's needed, right? You provide them with the ability to be able to do that. And if you provide them with the thing they need to do to be able to chase whatever it is they're chasing, you're always going to have work, and you're always going to be able to have create value. And that's part of like the whole 2032 thesis is of making people understand that this technology is moving forward, right, as it is right now. And because this technology is moving forward, there's going to be jobs that get created just in order to make the things happen. Like whether you care about AI or not, somebody's got to go there and guard the freaking infrastructure centers or whatever that are housing all the data. Somebody's got to do security on that. Somebody's got to go ahead and build those machines. Somebody's got to go ahead and make the microchips. Somebody's got to go ahead and do all these things, these jobs that you don't even realize are getting created because these other industries exist that are there. You need to figure out what those are and just be in the process. You don't always have to be the content creator using the AI to generate whatever or be the person, whatever. We're on a podcast right now. Somebody's got to make the microphone. Somebody's got to go ahead and edit this video. Somebody's got to go ahead and make the camera. Somebody's got to go ahead and provide the real estate that exists where we can sit in a room and be able to record. People have to provide all these things along the way. And if you provide those things to people, then you will always have something. And so you don't always have to be the guy. But you need to understand that things are only secure when everybody needs the thing that you have, right? So just keep that in mind,
brother. You are a different beast, man. You are a different beast, that. Brother. I appreciate you, man. You, bro. You are a gift, man. Keep on keeping on, bro. You have a lot.
Likewise. Thank you for creating this platform and for having me on here.
Thank you, man. I'm just saying, bro. You have something this world, bro. Just from the moment I met you, bro, I knew you was different, bro. You have something you're a gift to this world, bro. Like, keep on standing strong. Keep on being the man you are, the leader you are, the executioner you are, the ambitious one you are, bro. Keep being him, man, because this world needs people like you, bro. Like I'm telling you, like you, we don't know, just in this 2025 was predated in this 2025, just 2035, 45, man, whatever God sees, man, I already see what he's doing with you, what he's about to do with you, man. Just keep on fighting, bro. I'm telling you, you are that guy, man. I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, man. Big Poppa Code, man, as tradition on the Integrity Response. If you can reach to that bowl, grab one fortune cookie, open it, read it to your supporters and your new supporters, and just like that, brother, we out of here, man.
Let me see.
Yes, sir.
See if I can get this open.
Right. You already know it. Yes, sir.
Enjoy life. This is not a dress rehearsal. Ooh, I like that.
That was a bar.
Because that's a fact. I don't always think that these are right. This one's right. Enjoy life. This ain't a dress rehearsal.
Ain't a dress rehearsal.
This ain't a dress rehearsal.
Bro, that was a bar. Mm-hmm. Wow. I love that. Big Poppa Code 2025. The Integrity Response. Y'all stand by for everything this man has already done, everything this man is doing, everything this man is about to do. This is the future. He's already light years ahead of us. So just stand by. Brother, I appreciate you being on the platform. Bro, you know we got to do it again.
Definitely.
Do it again.
Whatever brother. You want.
Yes, sir. 2025, bro. We're going to do it again in 2025.
Let's do it.
Let's get to it, man. Big Poppa Code, Integrity Response, 2025. We're signing out.
Peace.
Salute.